Welcome to Live Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Mike.
And I'm Sam.
And today we are looking at environmental technology that will save us from dying of pollution.
Yay!
Which is good because unfortunately it still looks like we all might be dying of pollution. No, not that bad, hopefully. But the world needs help, right? We're still burning oil and coal and natural gas, and it's just not good. It's making all sorts of pollution in the environment. I mean, there's been some good environmental news, right? Remember the hole in the ozone layer?
Yes.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. We fixed that. But I'm all for these ideas, you know, like we're gonna take all our food garbage and we're gonna burn it. We're gonna use that to make power and things like that. You know, take your poop or whatever from your toilet and turn that into fuel and you know, all those ideas. I think that's great. I think there's many ways really smart scientists and engineers can take a lot of the things that we throw away and find ways to cleanly and successfully use them to make power so that A, we take care of, you know, bad stuff, and B, we get good stuff out of it instead of taking bad stuff and making more bad stuff. To get, you know, power.
Yeah, and so we are going to be looking about something that you might not know that much about.
I don't know anything about this.
Yes, I think a lot of people probably don't.
Right.
And this is called a CO₂ turbine.
Cool.
Yes, and so CO₂, we'll say it in the beginning just to kind of explain it.
Yes.
This stands for carbon dioxide because di would be there are two oxygens and one carbon dioxide.
Yes.
And so this is a turbine using carbon dioxide.
That's right, when you breathe out, that's carbon dioxide, and of course a lot of the pollution, all of the greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide. So basically it's kind of garbage gas that we can't really do much with. I mean, plants can actually take carbon dioxide and make oxygen, so that's a good thing. But generally, especially when we're producing it in factories and power plants in huge levels, it's not good. So if we can find something good to do with it, hey, that's fantastic. So let's look at this, the dawn of the CO₂ turbine. Let's check it out.
Steam turbines have produced most of the world's electricity since the 19th century. These machines heat water to produce steam, which turns the turbine's blades and generates electricity. However, steam turbines may soon be a thing of the past. The latest research indicates that supercritical carbon dioxide, CO₂, turbines, a new technology, will be cheaper and more efficient than their water-based predecessors. Carbon dioxide becomes supercritical when enough pressure and heat are applied that it acts like a gas but has the density of liquid. One of the major benefits of supercritical CO₂ turbines is that they take up less space. A 1-meter-long CO₂ turbine can generate as much electricity as a 20-meter-long steam turbine. They are also 10% more efficient and can be heated by solar power. This means that CO₂ turbines are far more environmentally friendly than traditional steam ones.
All right, so the dawn or the beginning of the CO₂ turbine. This is sort of science that is becoming technology. The engineers and the scientists are working on these things. And who knows, maybe 5, 10, 20 years in the future, these will be super common and we'll all be using them. Let's hope, because it sounds like a good idea. But what's it all about?
Yes, so to understand a little bit about it, we have to start with what are we using now if we're not using these CO₂ turbines. So it says steam turbines have produced most of the world's electricity since the 19th century. So we have these steam turbines that are more widespread that we've been using for a long time, and they are powered by steam. Steam is just if you heat up water to boiling point, then the gas part that comes off is called the steam. So steam engines and steam turbines are made from boiling water, super hot water, and then we use that steam and the energy that comes from it to power what we're trying to power. And so we see our example sentence. It says, this is one of the few remaining trains to run on steam. So yes, before we had coal-powered trains, then we had steam engines, and now mostly I think we have electric and things like that. So I don't think there's as many steam engines anymore, but they were popular before.
That's right, electric and diesel engines. These machines, steam turbines, heat water to produce steam, which turns the turbine's blades and generates electricity. It's kind of just like a really big fan. So you're burning oil or gas or coal or having nuclear power. You're heating up a bunch of water, putting it under a very high pressure, pushing it through a fan that spins really fast, and that's how you make electricity. Neat, huh? However, steam turbines may soon be a thing of the past. This is technology that's been around in different forms for, a couple hundred years. I mean, going back to James Watt. And of course, this is something that is good, useful, but maybe not the most efficient. And we do need to burn things like oil or gas to make all of this stuff work, to spin the blades in the turbine. Remember I mentioned fans? Well, that's also the blade, the fan part that spins around, that kind of flat part at a slight angle. That would be the blade of the fan. Now, we also would think of a knife having blades. So a blade is basically a flat, sharp type of metal or type of structure, and it can be used for all sorts of things. A propeller would have blades, like on an old airplane, or a propeller on a boat. That thing that spins around looks very much like a fan, and we would use the same word to talk about those parts of the fan, the flat parts that spin, that push the air or move the water. And as I said, it's the same as the blade of a knife. It's just kind of working in a different way, but it's shaped in a similar way. The fan's blades were slowing down, meaning that maybe someone turned the fan off.
Yes. And so now if we're saying that these steam turbines might be on their way out, let's see what's coming in. And so it says, the latest research indicates that supercritical carbon dioxide, CO₂, turbines, a new technology, will be cheaper and more efficient than their water-based predecessors. So this little chunk of the article is kind of a bit of a mouthful, but basically what they're saying is that this new CO₂ turbine, that is new technology that is basically going to be cheaper and work better than the old steam turbines. So they've done the research. Research just means if you're talking about technology and things like this, you are studying something, you are learning about it, you are testing it, you are doing all the experiments to see, is this going to be a good option or not? And research for new technologies could take years and years and years, and you could run trials and experiments and things like that. So the whole research could take a very long time before you actually put out a product, but it does sound like these CO₂ turbines are getting close. And our example sentence says, research suggests that happy people are more likely to live longer, which I think a lot of people know. If you're happier, that means your stress is lower, and stress causes a lot of really bad stuff for your body.
There you go. So it's scientifically proven. It's not just good advice. This is research. This is science. How does all this stuff work? Well, it says carbon dioxide, that's the CO₂, carbon dioxide becomes supercritical when enough pressure and heat are applied that it acts like a gas but has the density of liquid. Wow, my mind is being blown. One of the major benefits of supercritical CO₂ turbines is that they take up less space. So it's very efficient in terms of space. You can still get all that power out of it, but you're doing it in a smaller area because you're making gas into liquid, which is pretty cool. A 1 meter long CO₂ turbine, so 1 meter, about that big, can generate as much electricity as a 20-meter long steam turbine. That's pretty impressive. Okay.
Yes, so that would be a huge saver in space and things like that.
Absolutely. Everyone could have a little power station behind their house.
Yeah. And it says they are also 10% more efficient and can be heated by solar power. So they work and run faster and better. They're smaller and they can be heated by the sun. So there's a lot of benefits so far.
That's amazing.
This means CO2 turbines are far more environmentally friendly than traditional steam ones. Wow. So lots of benefits that we are seeing here in just this one little new product.
That's right. We're making power in a more efficient way, and we're doing it without burning anything. We're using solar power, and solar is an adjective that means from the sun. So if it's solar science, you're studying the sun. If it's solar energy, you're getting power from the sun, the heat power. Here's an example. Our house uses only solar energy. So we're not burning anything, we're not using wave power or water power, we're using sun power, heat power created by the sun. Pretty cool.
Yes.
All right, we'll take a break, then we'll be back with more.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天的课文标题是 The Dawn of the CO₂ Turbine。那 The Dawn of something 可以指什么的开始，什么的曙光。那么 Turbine 或是念作 Turbine， 它表示涡轮机。课文提到说，自19世纪以来，蒸汽涡轮机生产了世界上大部分的电力。那它运作的方式就是把水加热来产生蒸汽，那蒸汽转动涡轮机叶片来产生电力。不过呢，蒸汽涡轮机可能很快就会成为过去咯。最新研究显示，超临界二氧化碳涡轮机这项新技术将会更便宜、更有效率。那当施加足够的压力和热能时，二氧化碳它会变成 supercritical， 就是超临界的状态。那它的作用就会类似气体，但是具有液体的密度。而超临界二氧化碳涡轮机的其中一个主要优点就是占用的空间比较少。1公尺长的二氧化碳涡轮机，它的发电量相当于20公尺长的蒸汽涡轮机的发电量，效率呢也提高了10%，而且可以透过太阳能来加热，所以又更环保。我们来看单字 steam 表示蒸汽、水蒸气。Blade 它表示桨叶或者是刃、叶片。Mike 老师他刚好有提到 propeller 这个字，就是螺旋桨 ，P-R-O-P-E-L-L-E-R propeller。下一个单字 research 在这边当名词，表示研究调查。那么 solar 则是形容词，形容太阳的，使用太阳能的。老师们刚刚讲到超临界二氧化碳涡轮机可以节省大量的空间，那这时候老师用到 massive M-A-S-S-I-V-E massive 可以形容巨大的、大量的或是大规模的。这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。我们来看第一个重点是现在完成式搭配 since 或是 for 的用法。现在完成式 have 加上 PP 表示动作或状态从发生到现在为止已经持续或存在一段时间。那常见的搭配用法我们来看一下，你可以用主词 have 加上 PP 后面搭配 since 加过去时间点，后面也可以搭配 since 加上过去式的子句，或者是呢后面还可以搭配 for 加一段时间。例如 Zach has wanted to be an actor since childhood。 Zach 从小就想当演员。Zach has wanted to be an actor since he was 5. Zach 从5岁就想当演员。Zach has wanted to be an actor for a long time. Zach 想当演员很久了。第二个重点是 as much名词或者是 as many 名词，后面再接 as 点点点，这是表达跟什么一样多的什么什么。那么 as 点点点 as 是用来表达程度上和什么什么一样。我们要说明名词的数量相同时，这时候可以用到 as much 不可数名词 as 点点点，那么也可以用到 as many 复数可数名词加上 as 点点点。举例来说，I wish I could have as much free time as she does. 真希望我有跟她一样多的空闲时间。Daniel can't do as many push-ups as Nick. Daniel 没办法做跟 Nick 一样多的伏地挺身。好，那这回课文中。
While supercritical CO₂ turbines are still under development, they should be ready for large-scale use soon. A power plant on Texas's Southwest Research Institute campus has been researching the technology for years. It is expected to be fully functional and ready to power thousands of Texan homes at some point this year. The success of this experiment may be the beginning of a clean energy revolution.
All right, we are back with more about supercritical CO2 turbines. I like saying it. Just sounds cool.
Yeah.
Supercritical.
When you say it, you feel like, wow, I know things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is still a little bit.
Scientist.
Yes, and so this supercritical word is a scientific word. And so you're not going to see this in pretty much any other situation except for here, where it's describing that this thing is kind of both a gas and a liquid, or a gas that acts like a liquid. So it is a scientific term, and so you don't need to worry about it in your other life unless if you say your mom is being super critical of your homework. But that's a different kind of
super critical that you bring your keys with you when you leave. But that would be 2 words.
Yes, that would be 2
very
words.
important. This is 1 word, a much different meaning in science.
Yes, and so as we continue with our article, it says, while supercritical, CO2 turbines are still under development. So while these things are still being, created.
They're still doing research.
Yes, they're still researching it. It says they should be ready for large-scale use soon.
Ooh.
A power plant on Texas's Southwest Research Institute campus has been researching the technology for years.
Wow.
So it has been this ongoing process. Again, research in new technologies takes a long time.
It absolutely does, especially when you're doing things that have never been done before, like this. It is expected to be fully functional and ready to power thousands of Texan homes at some point this year. So they're going to be rolling out a working version of this. We might call it the prototype, kind of the first version. They'll learn a lot from actually, plugging it in and trying to get it to work in a real world situation. And if that works, then of course they'll make them bigger and better, and they'll start to be sold and used all around the world. The success of this experiment may be the beginning of a clean energy revolution. That sounds great. In Texas, remember they had a big snowstorm a few years ago, and the power system couldn't really handle it. And of course, with the world's weather getting crazier, we will need more sources of power that are also clean. So this sounds like a great place and a great time and a great way to do that, as long as they can make it functional. And I'm sure a lot of very smart people have spent a lot of time to try to do that, because if something is functional, it works. That's basically what we're saying. It works. You can use it in daily life. It's not like, well, you gotta just do it a little bit and change it a little bit, and you gotta don't look at it, and it only works on a Tuesday, and it only works when the temperature is exactly 19 degrees. No, if it's functional, it works in the real world, okay? So it's not an experiment. It's not something that we're testing out. No, we've done all the tests. It works. You can use it. It's very functional. But if it's old and broken, yeah, no. This car is old and no longer functional. It doesn't start. It's not functional. It doesn't work.
No, and then we also had this word revolution. So we were talking about that this new turbine could kind of revolutionize the whole world. This is basically a huge change, and everything is going to look different after this happens.
Yeah.
And we have this example sentence where it says computers have caused a revolution in the way people work. So you could say the computers and technology or the internet, these were all kind of big revolutions in the whole society of how things worked, because they changed and were made something very different than what it was before.
Yep.
There are wars that are named the so-and-so revolution because they wanted to overthrow or change what things were right now. And so then they got into a war to try to change that. So this revolution is this idea of a giant change to society and what is happening now.
There you go. So what do you think, guys? Do you think we are doing enough to make the energy we use greener? Are we doing enough to make the energy we use greener?
I feel like we're trying. I feel like there's still quite a long way to go, because we still have like giant cruise ships that use a lot.
Yeah, I mean, electric airplanes aren't a thing. We are doing it, but we gotta go faster. We gotta do more, people. That's true. We should have electric flying cars that are run on banana peels. by now. That's my project. All right, guys, we'll see you back here in the future. Hopefully it will be a green future. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take care of our Earth, because it's the only one we have. Bye!
虽然超临界二氧化碳涡轮机仍然在开发中，但它们应该很快就能大规模使用。美国德州的一间发电厂多年来一直在研究这项技术，那预计在今年的某个时候将能完全投入运作，准备为德州数千户家庭来供电。文中用到形容词 functional， 它是形容词形容机器系统等等，它是正常运作的，或者是可以形容实用的、功能性的。Mike 老师提到，这意味着他们是要推出原型来测试看看是否顺利。那老师用到 roll out， 那这个用语可以用来表达推出，像是推出新产品啊、服务等等。再来 prototype， 老师用到这个字 prototype，prototype 它是指原型，那可以用来表达像汽车啊，或者是科技产品等等量产前所研发的原型。课文最后写道，这项实验的成功可能会是干净能源革命的开始。那我们来学一下 revolution 就是革命或是革命运动，也可以指重大变革。Sam 老师用到一个动词，就是在 revolution 后面加 ize revolutionize， 它可以表达给什么带来革命性变革，使什么发生巨变。好，那以上这个讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Steam turbines have produced most of the world's electricity since the 19th century. These machines heat water to produce steam, which turns the turbine's blades and generates electricity. However, steam turbines may soon be a thing of the past. The latest research indicates that supercritical carbon dioxide, CO₂ turbines, a new technology, will be cheaper and more efficient than their water-based predecessors. Carbon dioxide becomes supercritical when enough pressure and heat are applied that it acts like a gas but has the density of liquid. One of the major benefits of supercritical CO₂ turbines is that they take up less space. A 1-meter-long CO₂ turbine can generate as much electricity as a 20-meter-long steam turbine. They are also 10% more efficient and can be heated by solar power. This means that CO₂ turbines are far more environmentally friendly than traditional steam ones. While supercritical CO₂ turbines are still under development, they should be ready for large-scale use soon. A power plant on Texas's Southwest Research Institute campus has been researching the technology for years. It is expected to be fully functional and ready to power thousands of Texan homes at some point this year. The success of this experiment may be the beginning of a clean energy revolution.
So today we are going to Banli Mansion. This is actually located right across the street from Beigan Visitor Center. Banli Mansion, if you've never heard mansion before, it's a really big house. Doesn't have to be, but usually it's about 5,000 to 9,000 square feet, which is really big. So let's find out what Banli Mansion is used for today. Across from the Beigan Visitor Center is the Banli Mansion. The 100-year-old building was built out of stone and wood. It is a great example of a traditional Eastern Fujian-style building. The original building was built by the Wang family from Fujian province. For a while, it was used by the National Army. Now, the building has been turned into a museum. Inside the house, visitors can see what traditional furniture looks like. Learn about the history of Beigan and the Banli Mansion. So next time you visit Beigan Island, make sure you go visit Banli Mansion, because it's not every day you get to walk into a building that is over 100 years old. It's always good to learn from the past. We'll see you there.